learn to actually address the fears that run you. It's a pretty brutal fact that fear runs a lot of your behavior, right? Because your actual sense of self is built upon the avoidance of pains and fears that you experience at a very young age. The sense of self that you believe you are, right? This acts as a very foundational point for your life that you build upon, right? And right at that bottom is various fears and pains that you run away from. And you basically remain stuck in this cycle of avoiding fear and pain, right? Chasing pleasure. And you actually need to learn how to address these things if you actually want to live well. If you actually want to be mentally, emotionally, physically healthy and actually develop yourself, right? Self-actualization and self-transcendence, this is a must. Right? You have to learn how to actually expose yourself to your fear, right? Your internal fear, the things that are quite literally stored in your body, it actually gets stuck in you. You have to learn how to dig into your internal subjective experience and actually process, right? You actually need to learn these skills, and we're not taught them basically anywhere in society. Right? Certain books do, certain people can help you, but I'm just going to stick to my video now. You also have to address external fears that you have as well, and actually expose yourself to things in the external world that actually, cause fear in you. Right? And this doesn't mean that you expose yourself to like blatantly dangerous situations, but there's probably things you avoid in the external world that are a byproduct of your inner avoidance. Like you don't set proper boundaries, you people please, you're not really grounded in yourself when you're like interacting with people. Right? And there's no ultimate boundary separating the inner and outer world, the internal and the external. Everything in this existence is in a complete unity with one another. And the distinctions that we make between internal and external are completely relative. They don't actually exist there in experience. It's a byproduct of the mind. It's a construct of the mind. So you have to learn how to actually process fear. You have to learn how to get comfortable with the sensations of fear. Right? Allowing your fear to exist, but simultaneously not allowing it to just control you. Because when discomfort arises inside you, let's say fear, right? Because why not? When sensations of anxiety, fear, anything related to this kind of stuff starts to arise, there's an avoidance of pain that happens, and it's that exact avoidance of sensation, that avoidance of that felt sense of energy flow inside of you that keeps you stuck now. And it's those specific sensations that you have to come into contact with so you can process them, and that your avoidance pattern isn't running the show. Your avoidance of the fear isn't running you, but you can come into a connection with those parts of you heal, right? You can allow them to exist. You don't force them away. You allow them to arise, you're feeling them, and then they pass, and then what takes their place, right, it's still there. Right? But for the things that are stuck inside of you, they're cyclical, right? Meaning that it doesn't just like arise and pass, although yes, but it'll arise and pass, and then it'll come back in a similar situation and similar times. Like a lot of your behaviors are cyclical. They're patterns, especially when they're actually stuck in you, when it's like programmed into you, right? And I mean this in a multitude of ways, but I'll explain it relatively simply because, I mean, this is just one YouTube video, doing my best. But the energy of fear and anxiety and shame and guilt and the whole uncomfortable spectrum of emotions literally gets stuck in your body. It stores itself in your body because growing up, you're unable to process it. Right? Your nervous system isn't regulated. No one teaches you these emotional processing, emotional intelligence techniques. Right? They don't like build a foundation of emotional. No one does this in your life, basically. School doesn't do it. And it all just kind of gets stuck in you. And from this place of like subconscious, unconscious tension, overwhelm, fear, you start building your life and acting, right? And it's all that stuff that needs addressing so that your intuition can come through, so you can just feel good in the present. You're not avoiding the present. You're grounded in the present. You allow feelings and sensations and the flow of energy to move through you freely. You're like a pure expression of the flow of, oh my God, there's a beautiful cat over there. Wow. wow, this is absolutely fantastic. You're just like a free expression of just the flow of life. All right, back to the video. Right, and you're always avoiding the present experience out of fear. Because the thing is the ego is built on illusion and delusion. The ego doesn't have a solid, independent existence of its own. Right, and when you really stop avoiding the present, when you actually start meditating, sitting in the present, not avoiding, not running, sensing into it, feeling into it, being aware of it, right, noticing your identification with thought and slowly kind of dismantling it, getting into your body, questioning, what am I? Self-inquiry. The identification with the ego begins to collapse and your actual perceptions of life change. They become more fluid, whole, more unified, a greater sense of inner harmony. Right? And your avoidance of the present, right, isn't a mistake. This is happening because subtly you're horrified, you're terrified of life. You're terrified of the expansiveness of your true nature, of just pure awareness, a pure open awareness, empty awareness. You're terrified of just being open to life. Right? At one point in your childhood, this was what your experience was. When you were very young and you couldn't hold it, so to speak, so you closed up. The ego was formed. Right? It's an overwhelming thing for, a young kid. So the ego gets formed in response to this openness. It has to close up and start getting things that needs to survive. And there's certain moments in your life where you feel this openness, like when you get something that you really want, and sexual experiences or in peak experiences, or maybe at night when you feel kind of relaxed and you're just looking at the stars and there's a sense of awe and wonder and openness. It slips through the cracks of the ego and you're not really in your conceptual mind in those experiences either. Notice that as well. You're not taking thoughts so seriously. You're not really believing in them, right? And it's a somewhat unconscious moment as well. You're not really aware of what's going on, right? It's like there's a silence happening. There's just a watching happening. There's an openness happening. It's this non-conceptual stuff that's happening. Right? There's just an openness, a sense of awe, wonder, a sense of connection to another person, things like this. These things, they slip through the cracks of the ego, and you reconnect, in a sense, to a truer part of you, a more genuine part of you. Right? You kind of lose, in a sense. You temporarily sort of let go of your tensions and defensiveness and your sense of self, right? You find yourself kind of just merging with life, merging with another person in a sexual experience, for example, or just feeling so connected to the cosmos as you look up at the stars at night, or feeling the flow of life through the form of music, because music has this, not a lot of rhythm to it. Why do we like it so much? Because it connects us to the flow of the present experience, right? It connects us to what's true about our existence, the very things that give us a sense of vitality. So learn to actually address all the things you avoid, specifically the fears, because really the reason why you avoid is because of fear. Avoidance is caused by repressed unconscious fear inside of you that has been existing inside of you since before you can remember. It's implicit memory that's stored in you. Right? If I were to ask you, what you did yesterday at, during the afternoon, you have some kind of, more explicit memory, some thought, things like this. Right? But this implicit memory is stored into the very fabrics of your body. This energy just gets stuck in you, and it kind of holds itself there because you don't process it, you don't become aware of it. And then it just kind of plays itself out. And then you see when it's like this from the age of 2, you grow up and you're like, oh, this is just what life is, because you don't have any other way of being. You don't know any other states of consciousness, levels of development, experiences. Right? You don't know other states of consciousness. You just know your ego. And you always filter life through the ego. You don't understand what an egoless experience is. right? So you just start taking life for granted. Like, this is just what it is. This is just how it works. But why would it be just what it is and just how it works? Why would life, be what you think it is? That's the most, arrogant position to hold. That life is what I think it is. Definitely not. Not even close. Right? And all these things that you avoid, all the fears and stuff, they constrict you. There's a sense of constriction, tightness, heaviness, dysfunction. It's unhealthy. Right? As you begin to stop avoiding them, open yourself back up to life, right? It just feels healthier. Intuitively, it just feels right. Right? Even if you can just open up to your own closures, it starts to feel better. Rather than always just being hyper-identified with your closures, with your tensions, your traumas, your thoughts, the avoidance patterns of fear. Just shining awareness through your mind, through your body, feeling into your body, your sensations. Getting awareness, learning how to actually inhabit the space that you occupy in existence in a very felt and conscious way. And being stable in it, being grounded, not letting anything really throw you off. Right? While also adapting to the present experience and just kind of feeling connected to it, adapting to your environment. Right? Actually feeling connected to everything that exists. Inseparable from everything that exists. Right? So practicing meditation is kind of step one here. Right? Structured time for meditation. This is where any beginner should really be starting. And why do you avoid meditating? Why do you avoid sitting quietly in a room by yourself, just observing life? Why do you run away from this so much? Isn't that something to look at? Isn't that something to be a little bit suspicious of? Because deep down you know that when you start paying attention to this experience, you're going to realize how much of an illusion it really is. You're going to start realizing all the bullshit that you really tell yourself and buy into. You're going to realize that yourself, that you've always taken yourself to be, was a clever illusion. And that life really wasn't what you thought it was. By definition, life literally cannot be what you think it is because your thoughts are all imaginary and life is the real deal. Your thoughts quite literally cannot encapsulate experience or reality. It's impossible. Your thoughts are always trying to model reality, experience. Experience is fluid, flowing, ever-changing, dynamic. The more you surrender your need to put reality in a box, the more you understand it. The more you let go of needing to know, the more you know. It's very counterintuitive. There's a Lao Tzu quote, a famous Taoist sage. The path forward seems to go backwards. Love that quote. It's completely counterintuitive. It's like what you thought it wasn't. It was the total opposite. Right? Humans, we always want to understand reality strictly through thought. We think about our thoughts. We got to think about thoughts. We don't, just watch them. Just observe. Sense into life. Right? This is where your intuition starts coming in. This is where you really inhabit your body. Your senses also come alive. Because your thoughts have this numbing effect. When you're always stuck in thoughts, you're disconnected from the present experience. When you're not in your body, right? When you're habitually lost and identified with thoughts, there's this disconnect that happens from experience, and there's this numbing effect, right? And you just don't have to experience life that way. Right? When you're stuck in the ego, it's inherently constricting because you are an infinite consciousness, infinite empty awareness that's just restricting itself in this habitual way. Right? And the ego is useful for, you know, a certain point of your development as a child. And then it gets to the point where you can actually self-transcend, self-actualize, and self-transcend. This is a possible thing for you, right? These are just levels of human development. So that's it for this video. I'm offering one-to-one coaching. You can apply for a free call. Link is in the pinned comment. Take it easy.